Hi, welcome to Polyphonic Press. I'm Jeremy Boyd.
And I'm John Van Dyke.
And today we're going to be talking about how a record store chain in Canada is expanding. Here we go. All right, so you probably don't know about this if you're outside of Canada, but Sunrise Records was at one time the third most popular record store chain in Canada, HMV being first, and then Music World, and then Sunrise Records. And Sunrise became number two by default because Music World went out of business. And so, like...
Where did Sam's stand on that list?
They were... I actually don't know.
Huh. I would have actually thought Sam's were bigger than Sun. I don't know.
But
anyway, doesn't matter.
Yeah. So basically what's happening now is Sunrise Records is expanding. They opened a new store in Timmins, Ontario. And the reason for this is because, like we've said before, and like many people know, vinyl is making a huge comeback. And last year, 2014, vinyl saw a 52% increase in sales, which is huge.
That's pretty big.
It's not enough to turn the record business completely around, but it's a big enough increase to make the physical record stores stay around for a little longer at least. So
it's big enough that it's worth your while to start pressing the vinyl.
Yeah. And there's actually, I saw an article that a new printing plant in Canada, a record pressing plant in Canada is about to open. So vinyl is, like we've said, is making a huge comeback, and like everybody has seen the trends. Vinyl is on an upswing, I think. I think it's right now, I don't know if it's quite hit its peak, but it's at least on its way to be hitting its peak. And I think a lot of that is just people are frustrated with MP3s and not having that physical, tangible thing in their hand. At least music collectors are.
Yeah.
And the other interesting fact that I thought was that most vinyl collectors are people under the age of 35.
That was interesting, but I think there's a couple of reasons for that too.
Yeah. Basically, well, because most new music, if not all new music, is coming out on vinyl, and new music never stopped coming out on vinyl.
Certainly, the independent stuff. A lot of the there is a certain amount of a hipster culture around it, but it's not just that. I mean, There's a lot of people who, they just think vinyl's cool. I'm one of them.
Yeah. And you can thank Record Store Day for a lot of that too. Without Record Store Day, I don't think vinyl would be quite at the place where it is now. Having special releases come out on vinyl and just getting people's foot in the door to say, maybe vinyl is worth checking out because this special release is coming out. Maybe I'll buy a regular album on vinyl too. So that gets the people in the store, and then it gets them to look around, and then it gets them to come back.
Yeah.
So I think the Record Store Day, I think, has had a huge impact that way. And I think the other thing, too, that people need to keep in mind, people say that vinyl sounds better, and it does, if it's recorded with analog equipment. Mm-hmm. If it's recorded with digital equipment like Pro Tools or something, vinyl and CD pretty much have the same sound quality. People will say dynamic. If vinyl has more dynamic range, you can get a lot of dynamic range on a CD too.
I find actually if it's processed digitally anyway, you kind of negate the whole analog sound.
Yeah.
in a lot of respects.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to have the big thing in your hand.
I'm not actually knocking it.
But people need to realize that they think vinyl sounds better when it's conditional on whether vinyl sounds better. Mm-hmm. It has to be recorded onto tape tape. So I think when people say that vinyl sounds better, it's yes, it does, but there's conditions. But you know, I'm all for vinyl making a comeback, even if it means, like, I'm more of a CD guy. So if the vinyl people can keep their record stores open, that means that CDs will still be produced. And
I'm
so
a record guy. I buy CDs primarily because they're cheaper, but I still go and pick up vinyl if I think it's worthwhile.
Yeah. So
like Jack White's album.
Yeah.
That's just a fun thing to play with. I've said this before.
Well,
it's just so many other things on it that it's just...
He's probably one of the reasons that vinyl is so big right now, too.
Yeah, he's a major player in it, that's for sure.
Yeah, so if you know anything about it, he's got, like, what is it, liquid in vinyl and like all this weird stuff.
Oh yeah, he had a liquid filled one. He's had glow in the dark ones. He's basically every trick that they did back in the 70s and 80s. He's expanded upon that. Actually, he doesn't do the picture disc so much. I think he finds them a little bit tacky, but he has done like photo etch, sort of a hologram, sort of.
Yeah.
Look in them and multiple colors.
Yeah. So I mean, vinyl record and HMV in Canada and in the UK is doing very well as well. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. So I think I think maybe physical record stores have not completely gone away, but they kind of went through a valley, and now we're starting to see the upswing a little bit.
Well,
again.
I think that valley was what they made their money on primarily in the past. It was no longer viable, and they had to find another way to stay open. And there's other things. Well, just because the music there's a whole lot more to the music industry than just the music, and it may be gimmicky. Yes, it's true. But and they carry stuff about movies, and not just movies, but movie memorabilia. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people who want things like a dancing baby Groot,
or whatever it might be,
or coasters that look like the slides that
from Dexter. Yeah, right. Yeah. Those things definitely will keep physical record stores alive. But anyway, let us know in the comments, do you have a record store in your area? I know some small towns don't actually have a record store, so let us know if you actually still go to a record store, or do you buy your stuff online? Let us know how you buy your music. Be sure to subscribe so you know when we post new videos. You can check us out on Twitter and Facebook. Follow John on Twitter at Funky Dutch. And that's about it. I'm Jeremy Boyd.
I'm John Van Dyke.
Take it easy.